For all your t-shirt needs, check out TeePublic's Killer Selection. Follow the link in the description. Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about 1984's Fatal Games. And I have to give a big shout out to my buddy Travis, who recommended this movie to me, because Fatal Games is an early 80s slasher movie that up until this point has flown completely under my radar. I don't think I'd even heard of this movie. And all Travis had to say is that Fatal Games is about a killer on the campus of this athletic institute, killing young athletes with a javelin. I had to see this movie. And Fatal Games is one of those early 80s slasher movies that is so blissfully and gleefully unaware of itself. By that I mean, the movie has no idea just how silly it is, just how gratuitous it is, just how downright dumb it is a lot of the time. And I love those elements when it comes to early 80s slasher movies particularly. They are completely unaware of just how silly, how sleazy, and oftentimes just how downright dumb they are. And there's something about that purity that is very much missing in horror movies today. And Fatal Games, it's your pretty standard 80s slasher movie. You've got a group of young athletes at this it's an athletic institute. They're all training to go to the Olympics, and a killer in a hood with a javelin, the guy right there behind me, shows up and starts picking them all off one by one. And this movie has so many moments in it that just completely boggle the mind. I'm guessing that the characters in this film are supposed to be around high school age, but of course they are all portrayed by actors who are in like their late 20s, early 30s. There's a subplot in which the directors of this athletic institute are pumping the athletes full of steroids and hormones to give them that edge so that they can go on and achieve Olympic glory. There's a sequence in which one of the gymnasts, a female gymnast, is getting a massage from one of the female training staff. A completely nude massage. A completely nude, sensual massage. And this is supposed to be like a high school girl. Now, I played sports in high school, but I was never privy to a completely nude massage from one of the coaching staff. Thank God. But that's just completely common in the world of Fatal Games. This movie is also incredibly gratuitous when it comes to the nudity. We have so many sequences of the girls in the shower. And if they're not in the shower, they're in the sauna, just hanging out completely naked, talking about whatever is on their minds. Now, I'm not complaining, but it's one of those which I'm sure they're aware of the fact that they have all this nudity in the movie, because that's a big selling point for the movie, but they're so unabashedly gratuitous when it comes to that element in the film. So much so, when they do shift to the boys' locker room and you have the men taking a shower after practice, there's actually a character in the shower wearing a jock strap in the shower. The women are completely nude in their shower, in their sauna. Cut to the guys section, and you've got guys wearing jock straps in the shower. Now, clearly, the people behind this film knew exactly who their audience was, and they wanted to give them what they wanted. Lots of female nudity, no male nudity whatsoever. The really unique thing about Fatal Games is the killer's choice of weapon, a javelin. Of all things, a javelin. We've seen knives, we've seen machetes, we've seen chainsaws, we've seen, you name it. We've seen just about every implement used as a murder weapon in a slasher movie. Never before have I seen a javelin used in a slasher movie. And I've got to say, the killer in this film, he uses the javelin quite well. The first kill in the film, it's actually pretty cool. A woman is lifting weights. She gets hit by the javelin so hard, it flings her back against a wall several feet behind her and pins her to the wall, as if the javelin had been shot out of a cannon. Then we have a sequence in which a lady is swimming in a pool, and the killer is in the pool in full scuba gear with the javelin. The killer underwater in full scuba gear with the javelin. Wow. Now, as far as the whodunit aspects of this film, it's pretty obvious early on who the killer is going to be in this movie. And then as the movie goes on, it's right in your face who the killer is. But then the movie, they throw us a curveball at the very end that just fits perfectly in this movie. It's another one of those completely, you're just like mind-boggling kind of, I guess you could call it a twist. It's just, it just fit perfectly in this movie, in the universe that this movie exists in. Overall, Fatal Games is a pretty well-made film from a technical point of view. Now, the acting is a bit off. The pacing is very off, particularly toward the end of the movie. I think clearly they just wanted to pad out that runtime, because toward the end, there's one very long sequence in which a character is just kind of stumbling around in the dark for no other reason than to just pad out the runtime, really. And then there's kind of in the middle of the film, there's this big lag as well. So clearly they were trying to pad out this movie as much as they could to make it feature length. But overall, I really had a good time watching Fatal Games. It's got all the elements of an early 80s slasher movie that I love. It takes place in its own completely bizarre universe where, like I said, a teenage athlete can receive a completely nude massage from one of the training staff at this institute. It was a fun movie. It's definitely not the best slasher movie I've ever seen. It's definitely not the worst slasher movie I've ever seen, but it was a fun slasher movie that I can definitely see myself revisiting in the future. Now, unfortunately, for one reason or another, Fatal Games just never made the jump to DVD or Blu-ray, at least here in the States. So you do have to do a little bit of searching to find it, but it's not that difficult to find. I do recommend it if you are a hardcore fan of 80s slasher movies. If you're just a fan of 80s slasher movies in general, you'll find a lot to like. In Fatal Games. I also need to mention the performance of Sally Kirkland in this film. Sally Kirkland is the only actor in this movie that's at all recognizable, and her performance is one that I'm sure she did not put on her resume. And I think it was just a couple of years after this movie was released that she was nominated for an Oscar. So she definitely came a long way in a short period of time with her acting ability. Just put it that way. But yeah, overall, I had a really fun time watching Fatal Games. If you can find it, definitely check it out if you are a fan of 80s slasher movies. Again, thank you to Travis for recommending this movie to me. I was thoroughly entertained by Fatal Games. If you guys have seen Fatal Games, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the A Buck a Month Club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Mitch Odell, Farron Sutton, Craig Farrand, Jeremiah Lambert, Grindhouse Grotto, Joseph Charlesworth, Chris Earls, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Tim Williams, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, Mr. Bibby86, James Welch, Eli Geisler, Jeff Overing, Cliff Hostetter, Cal McGuire, Jay the Stingray, Lauren Dixon, and Travis Davis. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.